Hello, my name is Billy Basso. I'm the solo developer making Animal Well.
Billy, it's been a couple of years since we spoke to you. What have you done to the game since over the last 2 years?
There's more animals. There's more rooms and areas to explore. There's more puzzles in the game. We have a new publisher, which is also big news, and then a lot more people know about the game now.
We were at your Summer Games Fest. You were just a little solo dev showing off your game to people, and over the last 2 years, the famous YouTuber Dunkey got involved and kind of catapulted you into like another level.
Yeah, it kind of exploded the profile of the game, and we're very, very grateful that to like be in that situation.
What did that feel like when that happened? Because you're making your game, you're kind of focused on that, social stuff. People review it. I kind of talked to you a little bit about it, but like that's got to be like a completely different level.
Yeah, it was. Like I think we weren't even like looking for a publisher. Like the game was getting some buzz and press, and I already was working with my partner Dan Edelman, who helps with the business and marketing stuff, and so I was feeling pretty good about the game and the potential of like launching it. After the Summer Games Fest, where we talked, Dunkey made a wrap-up video, kind of covering his thoughts on the show, and he kind of made fun of pretty much everything from the Summer Games Fest thing. But Animal Well was one of the few things that like got a little shout out from him as something that like looked promising, and just from that alone we got like a noticeable wish list bump. He mentioned it for like 5 seconds, so I knew Dunkey's power just from like that a tiny taste of like him talking about it. So I was just excited to be mentioned briefly, and then about 3 months later we were at Tokyo Game Show, and my partner Dan and we took a selfie with Shuhei Yoshida, and he posted on Twitter, and then Dunkey's wife Leah, who's also a co-founder of Bigmode, started following Dan, and then they started messaging each other, and I was like, thanks for giving us the little shout out earlier, and then I heard you're fans of the game. That's super cool, and it was that point they told us like, oh, we're going to be starting a publisher in the next like month or so. Like we haven't announced anything yet. It's kind of a secret. So we had a few meetings with them just to get to know each other, and I was a little concerned that like I didn't really want a publisher. I didn't want anyone to have like creative control over the game, or I had a pretty clear idea of what I wanted to do, and it was making good progress, but we got their feedback about what they would like to still see in the game, and I kind of explained what my intentions were to finish it, and they were pretty compatible with each other, and they were just like super nice, and I could tell that this was just like a passion project for them, and they just kind of wanted to give back to the industry, and they loved games, so it just seemed like too good of an opportunity to pass up. And I knew the fact that we were going to be their first game was going to be huge, so and it was. So I'm just very grateful, and timing worked out really, really well.
Since this involvement with the publisher, what has that opened up for you creatively, or like from a business standpoint, or is it still just kind of business as usual on your end?
I think it's like raised the stakes of the project. Before, I was like, a lot of my stress came from worrying if people would like find out about the game or if it would get noticed, and now it's kind of flipped from like, I know people know about this game, and I know people will try to play it, so it's the concern now is not disappointing them and just trying to make the best thing I can possibly make.
Does it feel good? I mean, like you spend multiple years on a game, showing it to friends, close family, maybe a little bit of press, but like you never really get a feel for the global scale of it. Does it feel good seeing that people are enjoying it and like want to play more and are wish listing it more?
Yeah, it's super encouraging. Yeah, you get a lot of good feedback from people. You come up with ideas of like little things to tweak, and I think just getting people to play test it's super important, because it's like you get to validate all your sort of design assumptions about like how you want people to feel or how you want them to react to things, but then when you actually see them play it, it's kind of testing all those assumptions, and you can make little tweaks to make sure that they have the sort of the reaction you want them to have.
You gotta feel good to just get validated for all the hard work and hours you spend on the game.
Yeah, and it's like the biggest challenge with like a 6-year-long project is like staying motivated, keeping to it, because I've tried to make games in the past, and like they inevitably just get distracted, or you kind of lose interest, or something's too hard and you don't know how to solve a particular problem, so you just go do something else. But but I've done it. That's been the biggest challenge with this project, and I think the thing that I've been able to improve on and do differently is just like make a habit out of working on it every day, and like working in ways that I find fun and enjoyable. And if I can could find the enjoyment in everything I do, then it'll eventually get done. I'm always like making a little bit of progress, and there's like not
it's
as
a
much
marathon,
friction.
not a sprint.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So you got to like learn to like all the different parts.
Are you still completely solo? Do you do a little bit? Do you do a little contracting here and there for some certain stuff, or is it still 100% just you?
Still just me. Yeah, a lot of people have asked that, and I honestly I struggle with like giving people feedback or like depending on people to do things. So like that's like
it's your baby.
Yeah, that's like one of those parts of like the way I work on the game is like I get the most satisfaction out of working alone, and so it'll take longer for me to do every part, but I can ultimately do it, or I can learn how to do it. So that's just been the strategy so far, and it's kept everything on track.
So how much longer do you think this game's going to development? Is this going to be one of those cases where it's done when you say it's done?
Yeah, that's been like the official statement, but I can give like a little bit of a status update. You can now get to the credits in the game, which is like a milestone I reached like a couple months ago, and most of the major like sort of set piece things that I want are in there. So it's just some sort of end game optional stuff I'm working on, doing a lot of polish and bug fixes, and then we gotta submit to certification and pass that, and at that point when maybe we'll announce the release date when I can like feel very confident that we'll hit it. And then the game will probably come out shortly after that.
We talked about this a little bit at Summer Games Fest a couple of years ago too, but you're also doing all your own ports as well.
I am doing the ports.
Madman.
My background is in like engineering, so that's actually one of the funner parts for me, is just like getting to go through all the console like SDKs and learn how they all work, because that's like they've been so mysterious to me my whole life. So this is like an opportunity to like sort of see how it all actually works, and
all the architecture's all different between all three.
Yeah, a little bit. There's like things like shaders that are handled differently on every platform, and I have to like do a lot of work to like get them to like be converted between the different languages, and there's definitely complexity, but yeah, it's also satisfying to like build an engine and like have it be able to work on all these platforms, and then I could take advantage of weirder, more like esoteric features that they offer, that you're just being able to like read through the documentation and be like, oh, did you know you can you can detect what color the Switch Joy-Con is, like you can design your gameplay around that. Like, no, I don't know why you would, but there's like, or the light bar on the PlayStation controller, and I just get really, really excited like seeing these things that maybe like out of the box engines like Unity or Unreal don't like give you access to, because they're like, okay, it's not that popular of a feature, but yeah, getting to like comb through all that my stuff.
And they give you the tools for the toy box, and then like you decide what, and a lot of people skip over this because like, the Wagger, the touchscreen on the Switch or the Waggle controls on the Joy-Cons are really depth tools, but people don't really utilize them. So like, but it's cool that they're there if you want to.
Yeah, I like having that option. And then there's a ton of stuff that I don't want to use that other engines are obligated to support, like things for like multiplayer or like online logins or
profiles are a big one.
Yes, yeah. There's a lot, and I'm happy to ignore certain things, but I take a keen interest in some of the weirder stuff.
My friend does ports. I used to do ports for a living, and one of the things he hated the most was that all the different systems had different profiles that had to continue where you left off, and they're all extremely different based on who is logged in at the time.
Yeah, and making a single-player game helps simplify some of that, but yeah, there's still some of it is kind of unavoidable. Just like handling where input comes from, and all the different like Switch controllers you can use is kind of crazy. There's like you could be holding like two Joy-Cons or one, or the Pro controller that can be like connected in handheld mode or tablet mode or connected to a TV, and you gotta like kind of make sure you test all that stuff. And,
I mean, you can even do vertical on the Switch if you really wanted to. Vertical.
yeah, you can use the flip grip if you want.
What advice would you give to somebody who's in indie game development? Because with their head down, they're also a solo dev, and they're just like looking for their break, or not even their break. They're just looking to finish their game that they've put their heart and soul into these last couple years.
I think just like have faith that it's possible, and it might just take a long time. That's like been the case for me. Like Animal Well wasn't always like that impressive of a game, especially early on, and I would try to show it to people, and I could just tell that they weren't super interested in it, but it slowly grew into something more unique, and that there wasn't one killer idea that sort of catapulted it into getting people's attention. It was just a lot of time and effort. So just find a way that works for you, where you can make a habit out of contributing to the project, and find joy in it if you can. If not, it's going to be hard to make something that stands out and see it to the end.